Hello and welcome back to Yellow Butterfly Craft Designs. My name is Melissa and today I have a few fall crafts for you. This will be my last fall video for 2021. I hope you enjoy. This first craft is a bunch of Dollar Tree signs that I connected together, one on top of the other to hang up to make a very long sign. I removed each of the hangers from the signs. I then put one sign on top of the other, kind of upside down, and marked holes so that I could later drill holes into the bottoms of all of the signs except for one, which will be your bottom sign. I did keep the twine from the hangers so that I could use it for this part. In this part, I used that twine to feed through the front pieces of each of the signs and tied a knot. And then I connected it to the next sign below it. And I did this with each one of the signs, making sure that they hung straight and making sure that they hung level. After I was satisfied with that, I made sure to go back and clip the strings that were in the back and also put some hot glue on the knots to make sure that the knots did not come undone with the weight of the sign. This was quite a long and large piece, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to hold tight and stay together. For the top sign, I added twine back to the top hanging part of it to finish that off. I hope you like it. This next project is a lot of fun. I found these houses about a year and a half ago at Dollar Tree. My first idea was to paint the inside of them and decorate them that way. I was using Waverly white chalk paint, and it did require 2 coats of paint on the inside of the houses. I kept the outside of the houses the wood color. I am a very messy painter, so for me to just paint the back of the house without getting paint on the sides wasn't going to work. So I did end up breaking those signs apart, and you will see what I do with them here in a few minutes. The next thing I did was take some Waverly Wax in Antique. I like this stuff because when you mix it with water, it looks like a stain. So I sprayed some water and mixed it together with the wax and then applied it to those words that were in the fall section at Hobby Lobby. Once that was done, I decided I was not thrilled with the white background. So I have several paper packs for fall and pulled one of those out and picked out a couple different sheets of paper to use as the backing on these houses. I used a glue stick just from Dollar Tree, one of the cheap ones, to put the paper on the back of the house and then hot glued that backing back together. I did make sure the edges were very crisp, that way none of the paper or the edging hung over once I connected the back of the house to the front. I did do this with both of the houses. Once I had both of the backings of the houses finished, I took the words that I had stained and hot glued them to the upper part of each house. The words were a nice little touch and filled up the space that was on the top. Once that was done, I took some little hay bales that I got from Dollar Tree and glued them into the bottom of the house. Then I also took some felt pumpkins that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby and also at Dollar Tree. And you could see the little plaid pumpkin there too. That one was also from the Dollar Tree. And I glued them in and around the little hay bales just to add some fun detail to each one of these little houses. They're so cute. I think this is my favorite project out of all of these for this video. I used these frames from Dollar Tree that they got in during the fall that have the beaded hangers on them. And my first idea was to paint over them with some gray acrylic paint just to see how the paint would cover. I was hoping to be able to leave some of that wood color shining through, but I didn't like the way that it was contrasting with the gray. So after a couple coats of the gray paint, I did go back in with some white Waverly chalk paint and painted over the beads and the frames with kind of a dry brush technique where you don't put a lot of paint on the brush. And I really liked how that turned out. I did play with it a little bit and added some more gray paint and then added some more white paint until I was really happy with how rustic and farmhouse feeling it was. While my frames were drying, I took the backs of the frames and pulled the paper that was on it off. That way I had a little bit more of a blank surface to work with. I ended up flipping them over anyways and using the other side of them and making sure the tags were off and all of that kind of stuff. I then took the same paper packs that I have for fall that I used in the last craft and traced around the squares and cut them out and used the same glue stick to glue the paper to the backs of the frames. Each one I did in a different paper so that they would coordinate with the color of the frames, but not with the paper itself. Next, each one of these paper packs have different little sayings and that in it to use for things like scrapbooking. I picked out two of the sayings that I liked, and then I took this little tool and roughed up the edges of the paper. From there, as you can see in the pictures here, I took a little bit of brown ink and kind of antiqued the outsides of the little words to make it stand out and pop off of the page a bit. These really are two of my favorite pieces that I created in this video. Now we're on to the final project. I took this little shadow box and painted the outside of it with navy blue acrylic paint, and I painted the inside of it with Waverly White chalk paint. I then got into those fall paper packs and found a little word saying, cut it out, and kind of roughed up the edges to make it look a little more rustic. Then I took some more of those little hay bales that I used for the houses and arranged them around the inside of the box. From there, I painted a couple of the Dollar Tree orange pumpkins with the blue acrylic paint. And because I do not have any kind of patience to watch paint dry, I used my heat gun on the blue pumpkins. Well, the neat thing is that those little pumpkins started to shrivel. So I have some big, tall, pretty orange pumpkins, and then I have some little shriveled blue pumpkins that added just a different touch of texture to this little box. I thought the little pumpkins were so cute, and I really loved the colors and how they coordinated together. The final thing that I did for this little box was take the little word saying that I had and I hot glued it up in the corner of the little box on the outside of the box because I wanted it to be seen. I didn't want it to be hidden behind the pumpkins and all of that kind of stuff. And that's it for this little project. I want to thank you for coming back and joining me. I would ask you to please subscribe and like this video. If you subscribe, you can hit the notification button. I can't guarantee you that YouTube will notify you if I post a video. I would love to have you a part of our Yellow Butterfly family, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.